everyone. A warm welcome to all of you to the first edition of UpStart in Hyderabad. UpStart is a series of talks by startup founders organized by Citrus Payments. Citrus began as a startup 5 years back, and the company has grown from 4-member team to a 300-member organization. The going was not always easy for us. We understand the pains of being a startup, about growing, about finding the right teammates, about building the product, scaling it to be used and loved by 22 million consumers, processing transactions over $3 billion annually. Citrus onboards thousands of startups every month, and we, in the process, interact with a lot of entrepreneurs. We hear lots of their stories of their successes, of their failures, their hardships, and we wanted to give back to the ecosystem. We want to do so by bringing a platform for entrepreneurs and other startups to meet, to interact, and probably learn from their interactions and to grow together. In this session of UpStart, we're talking about bootstrapping. If you note, in any nuclear attack, cockroaches are said to be the strongest of creatures. And in the startup ecosystem, it's no less. Most of your unicorns who have grown, companies that have grown to be highly successful, to be highly adaptable products, they have all started as a very bootstrap model. Today we have 3 very interesting entrepreneurs sharing their stories. In total we have 5 entrepreneurs who are speaking. 3 of them would be sharing their experiences and 2 of them would be speaking on very specific topics related to bootstrapping strategies. First, we shall have Abhay Deshpande, who is the founder of Marjack. Marjack is now a temporary company, and it's grown. It has been bootstrapped for a very long time. So Abhay would start the session. Next, we have Aditya Bochi, who is the founder of Zipper, and he shall be speaking to you about attracting top talent without the dollars. We shall then have Naidu Dakanini, who is the founder of Mira Events, speaking to you about their startup journey. Kalyan Mandyan, the founder of Blue Semantic Labs and also Mojo Street, shall also be sharing his entrepreneurial experience. Finally, we shall have Anurag Rathore, who is the founder of Zippy Cartoon, speak to you about the myths and facts of bootstrapping. Let's start the session with Abhay.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank UpStart for inviting me for this event. In the next 15-20 minutes, I will try to share my entrepreneurial journey of last 17 to 18 years. When they contacted me and said that this is event about bootstrapping, and really most of the startups do bootstrapping for first 1 year, for 6 months, for 2 years. But for me, the bootstrapping has been for last 17 years from the day I started. So I will talk more about the rejections, how the rejection can make the entrepreneur strong, and I just want to take you through my journey and the rejections we have gone through in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So just brief about me. When I moved to engineering from a small college in Maharashtra. From Brahmin, no one has done business before, or not even opened a shop in any one of my generations. No MBA, industry got this in the last 17 years. Whatever learning was that was the biggest MBA which I had. I have been in the e-commerce space for the last 18 or 19 years. I started my first company in 98, and now it's 2016. So it's 18 years of e-commerce. I can't do any other business for sure. There will be any other opportunities. Because someone gives me a petrol pump in Panjagutta, I might not be able to run it because what I understand is e-commerce. Failed a couple of times as an entrepreneur. The first company which I started was pretty popular but couldn't succeed. That was a failure, but a lot of learnings through that. Started the other company in 2007, and that's where Marjack, that is Marjack. So just a few words about my product and company. It's Marjack. I call it as my 4th child because if you guys are trying to build a business, you are really treat your business like a child. So the first company which I started at Malama.com was my first child. Then I had 2 beautiful daughters, and the 4th one is this Marjack, which born in 2007. and got married in 2015 to get there. Brief about the company. We're a 250 people company now in Hyderabad. Around 2,000 brands. So Marjack is an e-commerce platform, our omni-channel commerce platform, which has been like used by many enterprise customers across India, Southeast Asia, and Middle East. We started as a SME platform initially. The first customer I still remember used to pay us 199 rupees per month, and today one of the largest customers pays us 39 lakh rupees per month. So actually we are growing from a real SME platform to enterprise customer. As I said, around we have raised $7 million for Marjack in the last 8 years. It was India's first SaaS company, and when we started in 2007, SaaS was not the known word those days. And then 100 crores, so we used to do around 100, now it's almost 150 crores worth transactions happens on Marjack platform every month. Use of platform and do transactions. Few customers, Walmart, India uses us extensively, all their B2B commerce happens on our platform. Unilever, HYD is our client for India and for countries in South Asia. Future Group, in Middle East we have Lulu, Pizza Hut, Camp India, Viva, so there are 250 plus enterprise customers who use our platform exclusively. Brief about this, as I said, I did engineering from a small college in Nagari. Was not a very good student. I took 5 years to complete my engineering. Used the carry-over system very quickly. We used to have 45 marks of 3 subjects you can carry over. Finally, I got a good percentage somehow. So let's talk about the journey. I started my e-commerce journey in 1998. Those were the time where people were not aware about the internet itself. So somewhere I felt that this is the field which will do in the future, and this will be a big opportunity. So I started my first company in 1998 called Malamal.com. The whole idea of Malamal was an e-commerce portal for e-commerce portal for ethnic products. So every city, those were the days in 1998 where people used to proudly announce that retailers majorly that we don't have any branches. We have only one branch in Pune or only one branch in Hyderabad. If you go to Karachi district, you used to see a long queue there, and they used to only sell in their stores, and they used to be proud about it. So the whole thought came, and I used to travel those days from Hyderabad to Mumbai. I'm from Mumbai, so I used to travel to Hyderabad to Mumbai by train. So I saw a lot of people carrying those Karachi biscuits, polarity sweets in the train. And one of my friends used to call me, just get me some polarity sweets or Karachi biscuits. So this must be an opportunity where we can provide these products, but these are the Hyderabadis staying outside. We want to buy these products, but there is no chance for them to buy. So why not we bring them online and start doing it? So that's where the company was formed. Malamal name just because the messaging charge moving Malamal was there. So we want to be some interesting name that people will remember. So we studied. We got the venture funding, first round of funding, the first angel funding we got over 50-60 lakh rupees. The business plan was wonderful. Like, as per my business plan, I still have that Excel sheet. 2002 we were $1 billion GMV company when I'm starting my career. And I think I thank Microsoft for creating that tool, Excel sheet, that really helps the entrepreneur to show the big dreams and raise the rounds of investment. Then it was like the first e-commerce portal, so there were no payment gateways in India those days, 98. So 99 ICICI launched the first payment gateway, and we were the first client in India who was the first Indian bank's payment gateway. So Malaman.com was the company which got the first payment gateway from ICICI Bank, IC001, that code I still remember. So we used to process the payment earlier through now it's Citrus and all other companies have made it very easy that we get the payment gateway in a day. We pay a 5 lakh rupee deposit and 5% transaction fees, I still remember. So I think those were the days when the internet was not known. When we went to Polarity, Karachi, they said, we don't need business. They said, so we want to sell you products on internet. They said, are you able to see this line? These guys are standing with you. I don't need business. Then I told them, sir, we're giving you a business from the people who cannot come to your store. And that's where they realized the potential and they signed up with us. And we said, we don't want any money, we don't want any commission, we come cash and carry. Then when the business started happening, and then they realized the potential, these guys started us doing the credit of 1 month, 2 months, those days. So we used to do business of 30, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs a month. But then this business was, very soon we realized that India is not ready for e-commerce. Indian customers buying online. When we went to Gati, logistic company in 98, and said, we started this site, can you provide us logistics? What is e-commerce? So the first question asked by them. But they were not even aware, nobody was ready for it. We did deliveries. I remember I did the first 40-50 deliveries went to the clients, met the deliveries, first delivery without it gets packed. Then the clients have delivered. So we learned from those things. It was very early days of e-commerce. We did a couple of very innovative things those days. We did a Rakhi campaign, I think, which really gave us a very big brand. So we realized that India is not ready. So our customers are from US. We started really focusing on that. And as we all are emotionally connected, we are all emotional fools. So we thought let's reach out to these consumers in US emotionally. So that's why we launched a scheme those days called Send a Free Rakhi to US. And Raksha Bandhan is still a emotional festival where people connect with each other. And physical Rakhi. Those were the e-greetings, e-Rakhi days. And it was a tough job. We gave advertisement. We remember around 45,000, 50,000 people called us. Our site got trashed. We have print ads. This was metropolitan and any north part of the India. And we were amazed by the response. And as Indians, a lot of people started coming to our office, bringing sweet boxes, saris, Jimmy Bejo. We really closed the scheme in 3 days. But we couldn't carry. We thought of doing it for 8 days. Then we sent those Rakhis here, 10 boxes, sent it to US, and from there it was redispatched. 90% of the brothers got the Rakhi almost 10 days before that shop. And those were the days where like Rakhis, normal post used to take 2-3 months from Rakhi to reach. Courier was very costly, 450-500. So we solved some real problem. The intent was to reach that consumer emotionally. And that Rakhi will always hour later when we at Malamal want to bridge a gap between brother, sister, all that stuff. In the next 5 days, we got around 12,000 return gift orders. And because we got the Rakhi now, we have to send a gift to sister. We almost did over 60% of our investment there. And those days were high margin. Like one said, we used to pull out districts of 199, we used to sell of 199. Nobody used to ask, there were no options available. So we actually did a lot of such innovations during that period. But that was the only way we could do the business. Because India was not ready, we were just focused on analyze. But those 6-7 years of Malamal actually gave us a lot of learning. And one of the learning which I had from that you need to be at the right place at the right time. I started Malamal almost 8 years ahead of the time or 10 years ago. And although we were, as I said, extension was beautiful, but the real business was not there. Second learning I had from my first venture was hire the right talent. And the biggest mistake I did that I had all my old friends, cousins, and they all joined. But there was a huge gap between my way of looking at the business and the way they did the business. And I realized that if you want to really build a valuable business, you need to have the right talent. And one of the things which I learned from one of my friend, who was also invested in my company, Cockroach, you guys must have heard about it, the party gaming, one of the largest success stories created from Hyderabad. There's a company called Party Gaming, which was a $10 billion company called listed in London Stock Exchange in 2005. He also started in 98. And 2005, that company was listed in London Stock Exchange. The biggest difference was the kind of team which he had. All the guys, the team which he hired, made a huge difference. In 2005, then it was one of the largest success stories from Hyderabad, any Indian entrepreneur. Learn to say no. I had an offer in 98. I started a business, 35 lakh rupees GMV. One guy from Bombay calls up and said that I want to buy this company for 35 crores. Straight offer, 18 crores upfront, 7 crores in 2 years. Don't worry about business. I said, why you want to buy this? Why 25 crores? So the .com was a boom those days. This was a share market play. He was a big broker. He said, I just wanted to buy these, do a reverse merger, play around the play. You just come to office, sit in office, make the site live. No orders comes, I'm not worried. We said no to that. Frankly, after that, whether it was the right decision or not, I don't know. But I felt that I should not really sell my company for such an intent. And I didn't sell it. After that, 10 years were tough. Nobody offered me 50 lakh rupees for this company. But then, that is what we learned. I think we learned a few things there, like a lot of investors' expectations, like investors wanted our business to go to B2B, some guys wanted us to open offline stores. Why are we doing online? Let us have the site, open 5 stores in Hyderabad, ethnic products, get products from Jaipur. Whatever you're doing online, do offline. He was not really convinced about it. He said, I want to scale and we have issues. But a lot of investors were walked out, they were issues, but we stick to the conviction we had that what we feel that is going to work. Take the right inputs, but let's not get carried away by the investor input. That's what we learning. I felt that way. So, those are the 8 years of 98 to 2005. I couldn't become Malamal from monetary perspective, but definitely became Malamal from the e-commerce knowledge perspective. really learned what e-commerce is. We had around 500,000 consumers who bought on our site, how they buy, how they sell. And that was, and biggest learning was, I personally am not an engineer, but I don't know how to code. So I really realized that when the bad time started, when 2000.com burst happened, nobody was ready to invest. We had 3.5 crores left, 5 crores almost, a liability of the company. And my father was a high court judge. So in this family, 5 crores is like all generations money together is not better than 5 crores. So it was a tough time, right? Then we survived after that for 4-5 years. And that survival period was very, very bad. So, but then on a business perspective, what I learned that by the time all my technology team left, I didn't have any technology back then because everybody got opportunities, the business was not doing well. So any change I wanted to do on the site or any new feature I wanted to bring in was next to impossible. I was so dependent on them. I used to call them, request them on the weekends, was for change karna hai, rakhi aa raha hai, banana. So these guys used to do it as a favor. So I was not in control of my business. And that was the last 3 years really doing the inside. And I felt that most of the Indian retailers, the offline brick and mortar retailers, we have the same problem. They have to go for e-commerce sometime. And they will face the same problem which I am personally facing now. And that's where I think the Marjack concept was born. And 2007, with around 3 guys, well, I had 65 people team in Malamal at a peak. There were 3 people, a small office at Khairabad, Krishna Plaza, then liability of 3.5 crores, and a dream again to build something again. So 7 years, tough time, 8 time. But 2001 to 2006 was the toughest time where even suddenly 2000.com burst happened, 3.5 crore liability, employees started leaving, business was limited, and you have to stand there. But only thing we did that we were always there. We always picked the phone of the vendors, employees, whoever we were associated. Later people had confidence about these guys will not run away. And I think that those 6-7 years really gave us a learning. So this was a dream again to let's build a platform which can help small, medium and large retailers to go online and do a digital business. The first thing I did this time was got the right team in place. Right team with right ownership with the right state. So these 4-5 people, I got my CPO, Nitin, a great guy in technology who has built this platform. I was operation guy who was asking about Marwadi, thinks about money always, so that was helpful. I had Aditya who is the ex-Bazi and great guy who spent around 10 years in e-commerce. So actually we made one thing this time that let's hire only, if you want 10, let's hire 4 people but hire them money. So I think that was the first, that was one thing which we did in this business. As I said, we were building e-commerce platform, SaaS, started going to the clients 2007. May we started the company, 1.5 years took us to have the first version ready. Started going meeting the client. India was not ready, Flipkart just started, the web 2.0 just started, so nobody was ready. Brick and mortar guys were not bullish about it. And there was not that much of glamour that time for the whole e-commerce thing. So started going to the client, they said, rental SaaS model. So SaaS was a very difficult part to sell. SaaS depending was the known thing people know. Why should I pay you for software? Monthly fees that go to and I think that answer, given that answer was the toughest thing. Microsoft was sitting with that sort of thing. Why should I pay you 10,000 per month for your software? Answering that was tough. Being a SaaS model, being an e-commerce platform model, being a data, where is my data, is it secure? All those questions were there, but there was not cloud, and we were first adopters of the cloud. So cloud is my data secure. In 2008, 2009, not many people were really aware about those facts. Then when you're building a product company, what you need is definitely a large investment. And we were, whether lucky or unlucky, I don't know, we never got a large funding from anyone. So we had a big dream that we wanted to build a large global e-commerce platform, but never had that kind of capital available for it. But then we still continued. We raised around $7 million from it's 85 plus investors across India. I had 7 countries, each country has 6-7 investors. So we raised and the overall money has come in 135 tranches. So the company's goal started May 2007, exited in September. 100 months, 135 checks. So every month, you work on daily wages. So we were working on monthly funding, like money should come. And then investors from 10 lakh rupees to there is a guy who has invested 12.5 crore outside the company. So overall, my job was only to raise money. So I had a good team back at 18 and so I was not really involved in the business, but my job was only to get the investment. It was not easy because 85 investors, Every month you have to go and convince new Excel sheet. The month goes away, you have to get a new Excel sheet, new projection, new valuation. So, very, very complicated, but then it is. During that process, I think we got rejected by almost 100 plus times by the VCs. Met almost every VC in the country, 50 plus. Each VC, there are multiple VCs where we got rejected 4 times. We went to them in 2007, they said, our team is wonderful, you have a great experience. How much revenue went on you? I said, 5 lakh rupees a month. Can it become 15? I said, okay. Went 15, went to them, wow, good, can it become 25? We reached 1.52 crores, but never the funding happened. Every time we asked the same answer, wow, looks good, but does India have that potential? Is that SaaS model? India focused majorly. Then can you do international? I said, let's do. We went to Middle East. We reached the stage where 25% of our revenue started coming from Middle East. I said, poor. Okay, can you go to US? I said, well, that's not in my that will take about $1 million. So, a lot of rejections from the VCs. Many of them I know very well. Many of them send new businesses to me in e-commerce related to take my views, but don't invest in my company. So that we are seeing, but every rejection actually made us strong. Every rejection we said, we will build it, we will make it happen. We got rejected by, there was a valuation, one was very large. So they approached us, we went through a process, it was in 2011, 2012. $50 million deal, done deal, everything is signed. Last document has been signed, 15 days to go. All my investors started counting money. My employees, few of them, top guys, started looking for flats, apartments, villas. Everything happened. Our joint office got finalized. My offer letter was signed. Everything was done. But in my wild dreams, nobody thought that this deal will not happen. And this was a more glamorous deal. This would have been from my founders and me also would have been poster boys. Okay, 50 million Hyderabad. 1 week before, 10 days before the transaction, we got a call from the meeting. Some reason was given, FDI, So we realized that, and in our account we had 20 lakh rupees, 8-9 months of that period where for due diligence, 100 people traveled from US to India. Every small thing was checked. My background check happened till my college. Everything happened. When you are in that mode, the focus is not on the business. You lost overall complete 1 year. You lost a couple of investment opportunities to business. You can't do anything in that process. Your due diligence thing, every document you are careful about. Suddenly you get a call, emotionless, and you are getting emotionally connected also. I think yes, we get emotionally connected. This guy called one day and had a 15 minutes call that no, acquisition is not happening, XYZ has happened, and we will invest in $8 million, take 25% stake, X whatever number. We want right of first refusal for next 3 years and pay. Simple offer on the table, let us know by tomorrow. It was very risky, we had just 20 lakh rupees in the account, and no money, and we know that hereafter we will be called as a rejected company. Because whether the media knows or not, people will know it. Whenever we go to the new investor, he said, okay, this top guy has rejected you, that means there is something wrong with you. Still we took a decision, we sat together for a day, really bad, that was the first day I felt that there is no tomorrow, company will not be able to operate next month. We stayed together, say what to do. Should we take this $8 million, take this $8 million, we'll be permanently there. We can't do anything, but whatever they say, they are going to dictate the terms. We have 80 lakh rupees next month salary, we don't know. We have seen this situation many times. We decided not to sell, not to take that investment, move ahead. But that was one of the biggest rejections which really hampered us. Same process, we, as a product company with no investment, we should go to the client, talk to him, sell the product first and then build. Thankfully, we had a great team. I think we had a great team. At 90% cases, we could successfully deliver what we committed to our clients. Then the SMB, as I said initially, 199 rupees, 299, 2099, that was the initial model. We had 2,000, 3,000 plus clients. Then we realized that by 2010, this is not going to work. This collecting payment from 2,000 customers makes it impossible. We need to really, and these days we are not really, you need to have like 15 cities, your customers, there is no auto debit system available, no credit card charge system available. Write-offs of 15%, 18% with boats, lot of problems. Then we realize that we need to change the model. We need to really moved, and by the time the platform became a more enterprise platform. So I think that was the change we did here in 2011 and changed the focus from the SMB to the enterprise customers. Today, those were the 90% of our revenue from SMBs and 2-3 enterprise clients. In 3 years, we reached a stage where 95% of our revenue comes from enterprise. And as I said, 199 rupees per month. We have a client today who pays 39 rupees per month. So we reached that stage. As I said, the team. The biggest strength for Martech success was our team. As I said, I don't know how it worked. We built the e-commerce platform. That 250 plus employees, 175 when we exited, when the acquisition happened. So we had 75 strong. I think the team was the biggest strength. We have gone through the very, very bad times. And as I said, the biggest thing I did, I had the right talent this time. Again, maintaining that talent is also difficult. So if I hire right talent, we have guys from IIM, IIT, ISP, everything. These people really trusted us. There were 30, 40 people who really joined us from 2009, 10 from a square office, kept their job in Google, Amazon. Worked with us for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Compromised everywhere on the personal front, on the salary front, no increments for years. Salaries were delayed many times. But then I think that was the biggest strength of Martech's success, what we are seeing today. The hope was the biggest strength amongst us in the team that we will build something. And that made us stick together. They were simple that we realized in 2011 that such a large company can come and offer us $50 million. So something we have built. Might be they have rejected us, but there is some value in this. If we really carry on and keep our patience, we might see a better deal, better success. I think the positive energy was another thing which Martech team used to provide, and I think that was one of the biggest strengths which we had. And the trust. I think just to say a few things, this 85 investors who put 42 crores, there were 13 crores loan I took to run this company personally because director only can do the loan to the company as per the laws. So I need to take my amount and then put it in the company. So that's 13 crores. And company had 7 crore liability. So on an average 62 crores was the external money which came in the company. All this investment happened without a single shareholder agreement. So all these 85 investors have put in money from 5 lakhs to 15 crores just on the trust. They just transferred the money, signed the share application form, money was transferred, shares were allocated, done. Everyone up to 12.5 crores. The guy has invested 12.5 crores without shareholder. And I think that was the immense pressure on us. Frankly, if you ask me, not the monetary part, that these so many people trusted us. Blindly, the 45 employees who left their good jobs, worked with us in bad, good times, compromised, personal life, everything. Again, on trust. So I think the biggest strength of our success, wherever we reached today, was the trust amongst all the people involved in the business. This was the product which we feel that we made it in India, born global. Today, almost 50% plus of our revenue comes from Southeast Asia, from Middle East. There are the 3 markets we are focusing on, and now we capillary, little bit China also is our focus. But majorly, there are 2-3 markets which we focus on. Last 2 years, like definitely have 2-3x growth, which are seeing in numbers. We have got, as I said, Lulu, a lot of dealers giving customers. And a lot of improvement of the product, everything. And a lot of new additions, new services we are adding into our ecosystem. This happened on September with marriage between Capillary and Martech. We were more invested even more interest how the guys actually did this. One of the large transactions definitely on the SaaS and B2B space in the Asian market. 20-25% more than what earlier offer we had from. So we waited for 3 years, at least the bank interest will work for that. The few lessons which I learned from that, then big, again, as I said, middle class background, wanted to build $1 billion company, build $1 billion company this time, but that was a dream which we all had. And pivot, we have done pivot from B2C to B2B, SMB to enterprise. That has happened since we were lucky. It's very difficult to pivot from SMB to enterprise, because your positioning is like SMB, it is difficult, but somehow we will manage. Rejections, made plenty, take it in stride, and learn something from them and move ahead. Trust, as I said, hire A-class team, and entrepreneurship is a journey which never going to finish. This is a brief about what Martech journey is.
Thanks a lot, Abhay. We shall have a 5-minute quick Q&A session, just 5 questions. That's the first number. Just passing around the mics. Please raise your hand. Whoever wants to ask.
How did you handle the initial marketing of your company while bootstrapping?
So in the initial stage, we tried. So we are in the B2B space. Our target customers were very clear that retailers were our target. So fortunately, the first business I had retailers as my customers. In my Malamal business, I had Stratergy, Stratergy of the world. So I could bring them as a trial customers on our platform initially. Then went to the market and told them that Polarity is already my customer, Stratergy is my customer. So that helped. See, somewhere you have to, in the marketing game and the B2B space, you have to really show that dream, you have to tell. And many places which this client is already, wherever the digital is at advanced stage, they have already signed up. In our business, the problem was show us the site because you are an e-commerce platform. Then we said no, there is no implementation. We will have some communicative integration going on. I think we tried that. Plus, it was more retail. So we did the ATL for in 2010, 11, 12, little advertising, but mostly it was more retail, inside sales, connecting with the customer referral. Always that was. Go and meet the customer directly. Otherwise, it will also work video print ads, we were advertising on Times of India front page, all that we did. But I feel like that helped us as a brand when we pivoted as an enterprise, but then that was not really helpful from the lead generation perspective. We used to get 600 calls wherever the ad used to come, but 60% they were irrelevant. We had one ad where there was a shoes photo was mentioned as a retailer who wanted to show. We got 100 calls that where that shoes I can get. Consumer called us. And then a lot of people say, I have 10,000 square feet space available. Can you do something for me? So I think that was not really that going directly to the customer. And in B2B, I think that has really worked. And we used to participate in the events, small events. ARIA, Retail Association of India, events, which sponsors something. It was a very 5 lakhs, 10 lakh rupees kind of investment, but that actually helped us.
So, I'm Santosh from Cancer. So, how did you recruit how did you attract your first team members? Because at the initial stage, you just have to sell your dream, that's it. You don't have product. How did you manage to get first team members?
So, as I said, I have been selling dreams from 1998, so I have a little more experience by 2007. So, I think what I feel that if you are really committed to your vision and if you are transparent with your team and really show them the real big dream. I have seen people join me. The first guy who joined me from Google. And we were just 350 square feet office, 2 people sitting in the office, the market business I'm talking about. We bought his that 2 months notice period also. We wanted that guy desperately. And he's still with us. And he's definitely made few crores from this transaction. But that's a different story. But I think showing the big dream and getting them to work only. And that was actually what I used to do. 85 investors, every month I had 2 investors, I had 2, 3 people. That was my job. The rest business was, we had a team to do it.
Yeah, in the initial phase, how you used to divide your budget between your technology, marketing and sales? And how it's different from the current stage?
See, to plan it, you need to have a budget. You need to have money in the account. Unfortunately, the other guys who are funded will be able to answer your question better. But in my case, 60 out of 100 months of Marjack, almost 50 to 60 months, we never had money for more than 3 months. Let me put it in that way. I never had money for next 3 months. Only during that attention discussion, I had money for 4 months. Other than that, and that time there was no business thinking at all. You were selling your company, right? You don't have to think much. But normal scenario, never more than 3 months. And every 15 days, every salary which we used to make, the salary used to happen on 5th. And generally, a salary of 60 lakh rupees on 2nd, you have 10 lakh rupees in your account. But out of those 60 times, almost 55 times you got total amount in our account on 5th. So somewhere I was started getting overconfidence that Chapura ke sahi hum maar sakena. So there is some unseen force, and I can really tell that there was some 55 times it cannot happen. It can happen twice or thrice. And after I started getting the confidence, keep on trying, something will happen on that day you get money. And the amounts were varies from 20 lakhs to 80 lakhs. So I think for us it was electricity bill was paid on installments, telephone bills were paid on installments. So that was tough. So we never had a budget kind of thing. At least till we exited. Now definitely we are working on budget. For the last 7-8 months we have some money and we are planning for next 3 years, next 2 years. But till we exited, I don't think there will be.
So currently, how you divide your budget between marketing and sales?
So see, in the marketing and sales, the SaaS companies, the maximum money goes in marketing and sales. Product development is one sector and marketing sales is another. Now jointly we have been present in 3 countries and 50% of our business more than that comes from the market. So cost of sales is pretty high. Marketing, I don't think we spend much. As I said, now also we focus more on DTL, connecting with the customer referrals, events, participation. No print ad or paper ad doesn't work for the B2B businesses, but consumer businesses it might work. So the marketing budgets are limited, but the sales definitely we have a larger team and plan to make it much larger.
So you had a good knowledge on e-commerce, right? From India. So then, why didn't you launch another e-commerce website when it was the right time to launch in 2007 and 8?
So even when I meet people now, so they ask me, when you closed Malamar in 2007 and started 2006 and started this company, was it the right decision? Many people ask me this question. That 2007, 8 when Flipkart started and then the 2.0 started. I don't think I think about it because I said I had an offer to buy my company for 25 crores and then I closed that company. Today definitely this is one of the largest success story which we have built. I tried it even just to answer a question that B2C thing will never go out of your thing. So in 2013 we tried to launch a marketplace. Jumbotrain.com was a marketplace where we had Mr. Bachchan as a brand ambassador. I convinced him, we were ready for it. And we thought it would raise a couple of $1 million. We couldn't raise. So whatever capital we had for Marchat, we burned that everything those 7-8 months. But fortunately enough, at the right time we called it off. Again, I did that still here, but the problem after 2010-11 was that if you want to really get into the consumer business, you need to have a lot of deep pockets. I don't think it is advisable for anyone to really get into unless you have some disruptive idea or you're building something. Just a vertical or horizontal marketplace will not make sense. So we thought of it, we did it once. Might do in future, but at least in this thing it was very clear that there are 250 people whose blood money is here, we can't risk that. Took small risk, couldn't work. So focused on B2B business. Now in future might think about it.
Right, thanks a lot, Abhay.
Thank you.
So, Abhay spoke to you about hiring the right talent and the importance. Aditya is just going to tell you how to go about doing it without spending a lot of money. Over to Aditya.
Can you guys hear me? Okay? Alright. Cool. So, very tough act to follow. This is the first time I've either met Abhay or heard him speak, but I think it was such a comprehensive walk through his journey. Really amazing. So, very well done. Cool. So, quick introduction about myself. My name is Aditya Muchi. I'm the founder and CEO of Zipper, which is like a unique ID or an Aadhaar for homes. So we're trying to sort of solve the problem of explaining and communicating addresses in India, which is, I was explaining to somebody that I was just sitting with, is like a big hilarious joke in our country. कहीं पे जाना है तो इसके बगल में इसके पीछे, we have all this very nuanced way of explaining our address, and we felt that we could solve that problem at a very large scale. Topic of today, it's primarily around, I think it's also very reflective of the sort of the economy right now. If you had done such an event about 18 months ago, nobody would have showed up because everybody is like, "मैं पैसा raise कर दूँगा." Everybody is raising money. I'll also be able to raise. Why do I need to? What is this cockroach story? Tell me about unicorns and stuff. But I think very relevant for today's climate. Obviously, Abhay touched on a lot of topics in terms of how to sort of run a business without having to raise money. So I'll give you a quick background. So Zipper is my second startup. I first started a company about almost 6 years ago in the digital advertising space. So that's a bootstrap company. So never raised money there. So I started that company in 2010. We've never raised money. We're a few $1 million in revenue. in about 3 countries, very B2B. So we're a digital media company. And for me, coming from starting up MediaMint, which is my first company, not raising money, to a B2B company, to then starting Zipper, which is diametrically opposite, which the hope is we will touch every Indian, was a very, very big leap of faith. It also meant that I had to have a very different understanding and respect for what we had done so far. Because for us, when we started MediaMint, raising money was not even an option. We never thought about it. I came back from the US, started working in the area that I knew, which was digital marketing. And when you're in that kind of space, or you're in that kind of mindset, then you're not really thinking about, where am I going to raise money from? It was almost like, where am I going to get my first customer from? Very similar to what he said, right? Fake it till you make it. I remember having conversations when I first started MediaMint. I went to the US, spoke to a few, ex-colleagues of mine saying we're starting this company, and he was like, how many people do you have? Like, I have 15 people. And at that time, I felt like I was exaggerating when I said I have 15 people. And the only reason I said 15 people because he had a 6-people company. So I wanted to show that I was much larger than him, and he could depend on us, right? For helping him run his campaigns and stuff. But really during that entire journey, one of the key things that you feel is what kind of talent do you bring in, and how do you ensure that the talent comes to you with not huge expectations on the financial front. So I'm going to focus very clearly on how do you do that without having to spend large amounts of money, right? For me, the journey of this entire this whole entrepreneurial journey was also very, you look into the future, right? And this was back when I just passed out of college and stuff, like, that for the kind of person that you're at some point of time you will start something. And then, in my opinion, that is the point of time you start your investment. You start investing into your relationships. You start investing into your observations of people. Because I knew if at some point of time I was going to start a company, I was already in my mind trying to get a team together. I had no idea, no company, and this was back in 2005, right? But what ended up happening while you go through that journey, when the actual time comes when you decide to start a company, it doesn't seem unnatural to go up and talk to somebody and convince them to come join you, literally, and in a lot of cases at no salary. And you have to, if you have to go and ask somebody to join you and take that risk, and just tell them that you're not going to pay them any money, you have to look them straight in the eye and have the conviction, and have them believe that you're going to be able to do it right by them, right? So a lot of times what we've realized happens is your own reputation and credibility, whether it is personal credibility, professional credibility, financial credibility. Financial, I keep it aside because not everybody will know your financial credibility, but your own personal credibility and reputation becomes, in my opinion, the #1 factor why people will join you. Right? Everything else aside, because I always tell, this is one thing that actually is now become a tagline in some of my senior interviews with senior people, is that we'll do something today. If it doesn't work out, we'll all sing together, but we'll continue to work. Kuch aur karenge baad mein. Right? If you're able to give them, and if they can get, so you can tell whatever you want, right? But if they can get that confidence from you, we're going to try and do something together today. If that doesn't work out, then we're all going to sing together. They should know that we're all in the same boat. They should not feel like, acha, you know what, agar kuch work out nahi hua, I'm out of a job, this guy is cushy. Right? And that kind of confidence, if you're able to give to them, a lot of people, a lot of other things, in my opinion, don't really matter. So the other day I was having a conversation with a potential investor, a possible client, right? I finished a 45-minute conversation with them, and there were 2 people in the meeting. So one of them, somebody that I knew from before, and the other guy was a new person. So after the meeting finished, they walked on, I walked on along with them. One of the guys said, so the guy that I had met for the first time had commented to the other guy, ki banda bahut joshila hai. So he has a lot of energy and passion. Then whoever I knew, he came back to me and said, he thinks that you're very passionate, but I think that you were missing something today. which means that in the conversations, he had heard me many times before, right? And you know, the kind of glow that is there in your eyes when you're explaining something for the first time versus when you're explaining something for the 10th or 100th time, if you're able to maintain that level of energy, because a lot of times what I see is, you know, we have conversations at conferences and stuff like that, right? You don't know who could be your potential next hire or a guy that's interested in joining your company. If you're very casual and nonchalant about, you know, your company and whatever, he or she is looking for that fire in your belly to see if they can invest in you, right? Because everything else, you know, today, if talking 5-10 years ago, you know, it was a competition between bada company, chota company. Now I think we at least have this thing where there's a lot of, you know, sexiness to startups, right? So people are willing to hear you out, but if they don't see that you have that passion to do this day in and day out and to do this during the ups and downs, they're going to take a call. A lot of times, interviews are interviews for you. They're not interviews of the other guy, right? Because you've done your research and that's why you call them in, right? Because I think desperation levels will vary depending on where you are and how badly you need them. But a lot of times it's interview about you. So I would, so two things, right? One is the kind of reputation and credibility that you build over the years will play the number one factor. The second thing is how you do the interview, right? How you perform in the interview plays a very, very important role in how the other person evaluates you. And this, I'm assuming that you're not paying, you know, big salaries. You know, financial is out of the picture, right? A lot of times, that's if you can't afford that, then these are the things that they're looking for. The third thing that I do is always, even if I'm able to afford their salary, I take a chance and offer them about 25-30% less than what they're making today. And their reaction tells me why they want to join the company. Right? Eventually, you know, you may end up still, you know, offering the same salary that he's making somewhere else, but your pitch that you're actually expecting them to join at a lower salary and the way that they react to those situations will tell you why they're joining your company. I've done this many, many, many times, and every time the person that I ended up hiring, where this was the offer on the table, was somebody that worked out. I'll give an example. I hired my first guy in the US, this was 4 years ago, offered him 50% of what he was making. But I said, you know, we'll do something together, you stick with me for a couple of years. If by then your salary doesn't come to where it is today, you're welcome to leave. Right? And because he's somebody that had seen me for the last 3 or 4 years before that, he said, you know, I'll take a chance for a year. I don't know how long he wanted to stick around, but he told me he'd be there for 2 years. And now he's there with us for 4 years. He makes much more than what he used to when he joined the company. So a lot of times these kind of small things that you do during the interview, how you establish credibility. One of the comments that I wanted to make is also how you deal with other people during commercial transactions. Whether it is raising money, you know, or any other commercial transaction, right? A lot of times when it comes down to negotiations, when it comes down to some sort of disagreement between you guys, how you handle yourself plays an important role in how that person perceives you for the future. A lot of times I've lost money in transactions. That's because I said it is better to, you know, it's better that he owes me a favor, because, you know, in these scenarios the money will come around, right? But what you do and that small little delta, right? Let's say that guy, I'm just making it up, but let's say he's asking for 110 rupees, I'm willing to pay him 90, right? You give him 105, right? Because it's a little over what would have been the midpoint. He will remember you, he or she will remember you. And tomorrow, you know, your number one goal as an entrepreneur or somebody that is starting up is, as Abhay mentioned, is to have the right team. Right? So how do you bring about that right team together? And they play a very important, they take cues from these small things, and you know, that establishes you as somebody that they can trust and go with. So you know, broadly these are what I had. I know it's not a deck, just some learnings that I wanted to share. So happy to take any questions.
Well, just one thing, right? So you're talking about hiring impact, and then you're talking about startup. And then you did not even talk about, you just mentioned over ESOP.
Right.
Have you seen things changing? Have you seen things, how people proceed ESOP?
No, very good point. One of the things that I've seen with ESOPs is I'll tell you my first company, I mean, I gave out ESOP, but people never even bothered. I think now people bother, but then we are again going through another cycle where we see companies shut down. I might get great ESOPs, but what do they really mean? So people are also getting smarter about it. So the way that I sort of structure a lot of these things is it's usually a slider scale between salary and ESOP. And I always give them, like, you go to any SaaS website, right? You have 3 options, bronze, silver, and gold. So every one of my offers which had something has 3 options. And I want them to pick the middle option, so it's like highlighted right in front of them, right? So what ends up happening is they pick the highest salary and the highest ESOP from these 2 and say, "Mujhe ye chahiye." And you better be okay with that. And internally, when I'm building out these 3 offers, I'm actually okay with that. Right? But you've given them the choice. It's a little trick that you end up playing. But what I have seen is people don't value ESOPs as much as they do, because I think now we are seeing some exits. But until a few years ago, it was the only exit that we heard was before Red Bus. The only exit that we heard was Infosys public gaya or Narayan Murthy's driver made money. That was the only thing people heard about ESOPs, right? So that's changing a little bit, but I haven't seen that move the needle a whole lot. I think for the really senior guys, it makes a difference. But here I'm talking about if you're hiring engineers, you're hiring all these guys. I don't think that makes a huge deal. Because a lot of these guys are also here to learn. So they're like, if you give them the opportunity to say, if you stay 2 years here, you'll learn something and then leave. I've seen them here.
Hi Aditya, Santosh here.
Yeah.
So Aditya, I wanted to understand, is MediaMint still running and how did it go? So this transition from services to products, can you explain it a little bit? Did you put it on autopilot? It was taking care of the financial things. How did that transition happen?
Right, so good question. So the company is still running. It's a little over 300 people, so fairly, they do well as a very profitable company. For me, I decided 3 years ago that I was going to spend 90% of my time on Zipper. But the only reason I was able to do that because I had the right team in place. So yes, it was more or less on autopilot, but that was because I'd spent the 3 years before that only spending 60% of my time doing interviews.
So Aditya, tell about how you made your co-founders and and how you convinced them to join you.
Right. So good question to the wrong person. So both my companies, I founded them alone. First company, I started along with my wife, so she's my co-founder. But the second company, Zipper, I started alone. So for me, you call it commitment phobia or whatever. I haven't really been able to take the plunge with somebody at that early stage. But that's also because 2 things, right? My suggestion. Lot of times we wait for co-founders to join to start a company. If you have the conviction, you should be able to do it yourself. But if there's a certain gap that you're trying to fill that you absolutely cannot do it otherwise, try to get somebody that is senior enough. In which case you may have to be a co-founder. But I'm not the right guy to answer the question.
Hi, Aditya, Praneeth here. You have spoken a lot about your past entrepreneurial journey, but can you give a brief about Zipper? What is it about, and how it helps us, how it helps the local people around the city?
Yeah. So I think I don't know. I didn't plant this question just so everyone is clear. I was deliberately trying to sort of keep away from a sales pitch of Zipper, but thank you for bringing it up. So what we do is, and this I'm talking about my latest strategy, right, amongst everything else. So we work with governments, municipalities, smart cities, to basically replace the traditional house number with a Zipper code. So we're doing this in Vijayawada. We've done about 1.5 lakh homes. We expect to wrap it up in a couple of months. There are about 8-9 other cities that we expect to create Zipper codes for, basically replace the traditional door number in the next 1 year. So for us, I think the eventual goal is to be able to give every home a code, and which basically makes things more efficient. I think having a better address, I think people can come up with their own sort of reasons for doing so. But what we've also seen in the last couple of years is we've done an integration with Domino's. So you go to the Domino's website or mobile app, you can enter a Zipper code, and they'll know which Domino's store has to deliver that. Hopefully they'll also introduce devices on the field, so very similar to Swiggy, they can just come home. And then we also integrated with 108, the ambulance service, where you can call 108 in 3 states, AP, Karnataka and Telangana, and give us a code and they'll be able to dispatch an ambulance. So some very powerful use cases there. But for us, we believe we are building a very basically the digital infrastructure for the backend with Zipper, and that will then plug into many other industries.
How about for apartments?
Sorry?
You're giving only one node for one apartment, right?
Yeah. So what you guys see, I'm assuming that you guys live in either Kukatpalli or somewhere where you see the Zipper board. That was a marketing strategy for us. So we gave enough Zipper boards in the city where people see the board and say, "Achha, this is an address." But what we're doing with the government is actually at an apartment level, at a unit level. Let's say your apartment, your building has 15 apartments or 15 units. Each one will get its own Zipper board.
Yeah, can you tell me the life before and after getting the investment for your company?
Right. So I'll tell you a little bit about. So we raised only an angel round, so which is very small. And if you raise it with the right angel investor, it's usually non-interfering. They invest in you because they don't know where you're going to take the company. They're investing in the individual. So I haven't seen a whole lot of difference. The big sort of difference that I have seen is between medium and running medium and there's a lot of financial sort of discipline that you end up getting if you have an external investor, but not in the negative sense. So I've been very fortunate that way. So we haven't seen a whole lot of things, but we definitely do budgeting because we have external investors too. I think he was very lucky. I mean, we talked about so many investors, but they do budgeting. I don't think my investors will accept that. So we do budgeting, and financial due diligence is definitely one part of it. Your ability to penetrate certain, if you get the right kind of investors, their ability to do introductions definitely becomes helpful. But we haven't changed a whole lot. If you're asking, did we end up spending a lot more money after we got the investment before we did? No, we did not. So just to give you an idea, when we raised the money, we laid out a roadmap for 12 months, saying, that's how we intend to budget and spend the money. It's been close to about 22 months now. You still haven't run out of money. So you also have to figure out when to dial up and dial down. Just because you have outside investment doesn't mean that you go ballistic.
Hello. I'm Akhil.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Akhil. I want to know from you, when you had a Zipper idea, how did you go to Amazon and made a deal with Amazon?
So I'll just clear the air first. We haven't raised any money. We haven't done a deal with Amazon. So some of you guys know. So basically what ended up happening is we were in talks with Amazon to raise a fairly large round of money. But one of the things that we realized during that entire exercise is Zipper as a concept needs to stay as neutral as possible. So one of the very tough decisions of my career, very similar to him, just to turn down the money, which we did.
Kalyat Manya, who is the founder of Somatic Labs, and Mojo Street, who's going to share his startup story with you.
Can hear me all right? Okay, so I'm Kalyat Manya. Currently I'm the founder and CEO of Somatic. I also run another company called Mojo Street, so we'll talk about how and why I'm running two companies today. So prior to Somatic, including Mojo Street, and I had run 3 different startups. So one was in the healthcare space, the other was in the social media space, and then the third company, Mojo Street, was in the hyperlocal mobile space. Completely different, unrelated sectors. That's what excites me. I always love to pick up new challenges and work on them. And thankfully, in 2 of them, we had 2 recent exits. For all the 4 startups that I'm working on. The 4th is currently we started in April of last year. This company, we started, after observing what was going on in the Indian market. Right? So we're seeing how companies were going like crazy, and they were not able to really focus on the customer or the experience. And we felt, okay, there's something that's literally wrong. And we went there and spoke to a lot of companies, and then we realized that, okay, it's not that the companies or the founders are really want to screw their own customers or keep the customers unhappy. It's just that they were not able to really manage the customer experience at scale. So that's when we went ahead and said, okay, let's create a system that will help them manage the customer experience, provide the best possible experience even at scale. We started this company, as I said again, last year. It's a SaaS company. We provide customer feedback analytics across the customer journey. And we have few customers now who start paying. So we have customers including Red Bus, Dr. C. Virak is also one of our customers. So it's a completely different space that I've not operated in. It's an enterprise space. Our whole approach that I've taken, to build this company is very, very different from the approach that we've taken earlier. right? So one thing I've actually observed across all the speakers is that the experience that we've all had are very, very common at one or the other level. So I hope I'm not going to bore you in repeating the same things. Please excuse me if I do. So there's one incident that reminded me whatever Abhay was talking about when he went to the BCs, right? So okay, yeah. So I started trying to build my own things right when I was in college. 1999 was when I was doing my bachelor's in international business. I was very keen about, I was very interested about technology, so I learned technology on my own. Started building sites for others, trying to make a little money. Got really overexcited about the whole concept, right? And then we wanted to build an online fashion portal like Mintra, right? So, but again with 3D modeling and everything right there in 1999. And we created a business plan. We somehow found a business plan created by E&Y for some other company, for some large company. So we took the Excel sheet, just changed some numbers here and there, and we realized that okay, we're going to build a 500 crore company in the next 2 years, right? So again, it was a very interesting thing, but it was a very interesting experience too, because we sent the presentation to all people. So that was the time frame was a time when there was no investors in India, there was nobody that you can go talk to, no articles that you can go network with, understand what we were trying to do, right? So we still found, I don't know how we really found, but we did find one gentleman who was the same from Asia Pacific, head. We sent the presentation to him, and he said, hey, looks interesting. They really want to talk to you guys. You guys all seem to be like a bunch of very interesting guys, and we can do something. So let's have a conversation. So the whole conversation went through over the call. He was very excited about the whole opportunity, and he said, okay, why don't you now start telling me about your background? That's when I told him, okay, I was still doing my undergrad. The other guy was actually even my classmate, right? So he said, okay, hey guys, you know what? You guys have great ideas, but you don't have the fundamentals right yet, and you need to have a lot more experience to build a company. You need to understand what goes into building a company. So take a step back and figure out, work for somebody else, or figure out a little bit before coming back in entrepreneurship. But he was very encouraging though. But you know what, the Kida, it doesn't really die so soon, right? So right after our undergrad, I started another company in the healthcare space. Again, very, very advanced technology. We built a telemedicine product. We were trying to implement this product for Kane Hospital in the AV government. They wanted machinery to be able to do telemedicine. We went ahead and we brought Wipro, GE, and they had a partnership at that time. So we somehow figured out who to contact there and got them onto the bid. We also spoke to Siemens and said, okay, hey, we need one more partner to also come and bid, right, for the equipment. And we had APIs at that time. We had APIs that could actually go and talk to all this machinery. What interesting, the other interesting thing that actually happened there was we were clueless about the whole idea of building a business, ensuring that how do we really protect ourselves as well. Right? So Siemens came in, understood the whole opportunity, and told the AP government, we'll give you the equipment if you buy it from us, right? So we'll give you the telemedicine software for free. And we were thinking, hey guys, we are the guys who introduced you, right? And you're kicking us out from the whole deal, right? That was a big, big lesson. But again, we said, okay, you know what, we'll still go ahead and we will try to work something with Care Hospital. And they gave an opportunity, a very large, Hyderabad-based industrial tycoon who came and said, hey, you know what, I want to buy your company. And we were like, this is like an awesome thing, right? We were like thinking, okay, what were we trying to, how do we really build this business? And we said, okay, why do you really want to build this company? He said, my son-in-law wants to start a software company. And you guys actually have something in healthcare. You already have a product. You already have a website with the increased amount of traffic coming in. So we want to buy it. I said, absolutely great. We just sold it. And then again, we went ahead. I said, okay, enough of trying to build something on my own. Let me take a break. Right? So I and my brother. So we both have been trying to do things together. He's actually a doctor by education. So I went to the US to do my master's. Again, the kid I get abroad while in the US. So most of the students go from India to get a little bit additional financial support, working in petrol bunks, etc. I was using my technology skill and building websites for other people, right? And that excited some of the faculty who were looking at my work, because every time I was trying to give out a project report, this is the my real life work was what I was actually providing to them. So they got really excited because they gave me GA, graduate assistantship. They funded the entire my entire education. I didn't really have to pay a penny. After that, they also would pay me some internship money on a monthly basis. So things were going really well. And then I went ahead and right after masters, interviewed for a couple of companies, faked my number of years of experience, but got through, and then I was about to go and join their company, Virginia. Right? And that's around the time I got a call from a startup based in Silicon Valley called Solix Technologies, was in the enterprise data management. And again, we all know California, Silicon Valley, it's exciting for us, right? So for all of us, it's very, very exciting. So I said, okay, let me have a call with him. He spoke to me for an hour. He told me, Kalyan, I'm not going to give you 70K, is what $70,000 is what I was actually offered in Virginia. So I'm not going to give you 70K. I'll give you an opportunity to work in my company across different departments, right? And in the middle of Silicon Valley. I said, okay, this is great. I mean, this is an opportunity I really want to pick up. And then I said, okay, how much do I get on a month-on-month basis? I said $1,200 per month, so it's less than my GHU or whatever I was earning in my college. But still, I said, okay, this is an exciting thing. Let me go and join. So I joined them, and true to his word, he kept the promise. Gave me exposure to marketing, sales, technology, pre-sales, everything that I could wish for. Right? And within the same 6 months, I was actually about to go and start heading the pre-sales department. He found that okay, I was actually decently useful enough, so he started thinking that I can probably head one of those departments. I was to come back to India for some training. Came back to India and told them, I don't want to come back to the US. Right? So my parents and everybody were like, we are completely screwed up. Right? So, but I chose to stay back in India for a reason. I wanted to do something here in India. I wanted to be with the family. That was very, very important for me. And then, I think after 6 months or so, I started hitting the APAC sales and alliances. I was traveling around, got a good amount of exposure there. So after 6 months or so, I told my boss, I called him up and said, now I want to quit. And he asked me, okay, what is that I have not done for you, right? I have done everything. Give me a strong reason why you want to quit. I told him I want to start a budget. So, and then he said, Kalyan, I think go ahead. Be very careful about the idea, be very careful about what you're trying to build. But if you need any support, I'm always there. So the fact that I was very open to him, the fact that we were very open to each other about what my whole entire goal was, allowed me to still continue to have a great relationship with him. The new enterprise startup that we recently started, we're actually partnering with them in a very large way as well. So never burn bridges. Ensure that you always build relationship at every stage of your life. Right? You never know how and when they're going to be useful, and especially if you want to bootstrap, very, very useful. Right? So right from funding to partnerships to introductions to everything, you'll find use of relationships over the past few years. So after I started this company called India Rocks, it was an online social networking platform. We initially wanted to build, so we were very excited about mobile, right? So I was doing web programming and too. When I came back, we were all talking, all the media was talking about how India is going to do mobile in the country, or how everybody's going to have a mobile phone. So we said, okay, let's start a mobile social network platform. Thankfully, we did not do that. This is 2006, we were failed miserably. We quickly realized and we pivoted to become the online social network platform. And so we use SMS as a means to allow people to communicate between an online user and an offline user. And that took off really, really well. Right. So again, what I was talking about in the DC experience, so we had the same experience. So we started this company in 2006. We had raised around 10 lakh rupees from a US friend. So we got the product out. It is a basic MVP, right? So the basic MVP was out by 2007 March. Right? So we got featured by Mashable at that time. We were the only company that was actually got featured by international media. We had actually approached a lot of Indian bloggers too. Nobody bothered about us. But when Mashable covered us, everybody approached us and said, okay, we want to write about it. Right? It was an interesting experience. Right? And we realized, okay, who should we always pitch first to? Right? So we always started. Even the company that we started, Bootstrapping, after India Rocks, the first media that covered us was TechCrunch, not any of the Indian bloggers. Right? So everybody again, wrapped up, picked up the story and covered us really well. Yeah, so we started the company. We went around to the venture capital firms. We were actually comparing how to raise funds, how much money we can raise from the Silicon Valley. Whatever stories that we were hearing from there, right? And we were going through all the research. Nobody was actually excited about what we were trying to do. Right? Everybody said, "Output is there. Why do we need you guys?" And we were doing our pitch. Okay, how we enable online offline communication, how we had a media center, why we believe that when you actually have your friends and family at one single place, you also need to have photos, videos, and everything in one single place, privacy enabled. Everybody thought, okay, we were fools, because it was a time everybody was saying, okay, you have to build a vertical platform, Flickr, YouTube, right? And then just a pure play social networking platform, nothing else. There was no concept of integration, right? Anyway, so we went around, we spoke, so everybody said, okay, Kalyan, you know what? You guys have built a beautiful platform, you guys have got really good coverage, seems like you know how to sell, build platforms. Now get some users on board, now we'll fund you. So we said, okay, how many users do you want us to get on? Just first get 10,000, this is India, right? So it's already, how good is the leader? Get 10,000 users, fine. So we went around, got 10,000 users in the first couple of months. Went back and said, okay, you guys are doing a pretty good job, why don't we get 50,000 users? Fine, we went back again and again, it took a little time. We got covered by NDTV, they talked about our company for like 15 or 20 times in 2 days. Our servers crashed, everything, but we still reached only 50,000 users by December. So 6 or 7 months is what it took for us to reach 50,000 users. So we went around, we went back to the same VC, same guy, and told him, okay, now we have 50,000 users. He said, what, you guys took too long. He was a guy who said India where getting 10,000 users was a challenge, and we actually had 50,000 members, and he said, you guys took too long. And I said, okay, you're too naive, right? So we were like saying, okay, fine, we'll do something again, we'll try to come back to you. What is the number that you are excited about? He said, 1 lakh. Interestingly, thankfully we were listening to our customers. Every user profile that was getting created actually had me as a default friend, where I was forcing myself as a friend to everybody. Right? So that also provided me an opportunity to interact with every single person. Understood what the user flow issues were, etc. and bringing some virality into the product. The next 1 month itself, we added 50,000 members. We went back to the same VC and he told us the same story again. Come back with a different number. And we said, okay, we had enough. So we were running out of money, we were desperate. We said, okay, I think we should stop focusing on VCs, we should start focusing on building revenue. And from that day onwards, even though it was a single penny or a single rupee, we didn't bother. We were trying to explore every single means of earning money. We were desperate to earn money because we wanted to survive. Right? So we clearly knew from then on, VCs are not the guys that we want to go after. Right? And again, in the next 3 months, we touched 1 million members, and again, we just continued to grow. And the interesting thing is, we never spent a single penny on advertising. Right? And we exited the company in 2010, 2011 actually rather. We had around 8.5 million members. We did a decent exit. We made some money, cleared off all the debts that I had. Right? And then again, I was thinking this time, let me do something back in the mobile space. Right? So again, we started Mojo Street. Purely mobile only app. We were the first guys in India to do that. And we thought, okay, this was a time, right time. We were actually featured by Google App Store. We were the first guys to get featured from India. We were featured by BlackBerry. We were actually pre-burned on all their phones in India. We were part of the advertising. All zero amount of money that we spent on the marketing and advertising. Right? So we were trying to figure out different ways of actually building our company without really spending any money, and actually all worked. But interestingly, at Mojo Street, we could not figure out a way to really earn money. Right? Because our entire revenue generation was either through ads, very few users on ads, actually on mobile phones who were actually click on ads, we were not able to earn any revenue. The other revenue stream that we had was from local SMEs, like retail outlets in India. Those guys, we could convince at least close to 150 people of them to start paying for us. Right? But our sales guys actually had to go 2 or 3 times every month to collect, 2,000 rupees check. And we felt, okay, this is just not the right thing, and not the right way to do the company. My investors, we all took a decision that, okay, or rather my investors asked me, Kalyan, why don't you just shut the company? This was in 2014, right? And during that time frame, we were also excited to our investors that when VCs came and approached us to invest in the company, we said no. Right? So we were headstrong. So we were very clear about the kind of valuations that we wanted. Because again, we were comparing to the US numbers. We never realized that what we were trying to do was in India, we were trying to build a product out of India for the Indian market. But again, we were comparing the valuations in the US market. Interestingly, nobody, we did not raise funds at the end of the day. We investors said, okay, shut the company. But again, being entrepreneurs, right, we tend to be emotional. We continue to run the company. Today, we continue to run the company. We haven't closed the company. It's self-sustainable, so it doesn't bother me anymore. But now again, I said, okay, let me do something that will start letting me build a bootstrappable company, right? So basically, for me, it's all about, can you now build a company that doesn't require VC money, that can actually start giving you revenue from day one. Right? So now I actually started with multiple questions in my head, right? So the first thing is, am I sure I want to build a company now, bootstrapping, or do I really want to raise a VC now? I said, okay, let me do a bootstrap company again. Right? let me go through the whole experience. I actually gained some experience of 2 different kinds. One without raising any money at all, one with raising some angel money. And then I said, okay, let me do something on my own. And then, one thing I've realized across all my startups is, okay, it's not a sprint, right? It's a journey. It's a long, tedious, very tiring journey. It's like actually, locking yourself up in a tiny room in Thar Desert, in the mid-hot sun, and not having a clue about what to do next, right? Sometimes it's like that. So the first thing is, are you ready to be part of such a journey? A very, very long journey, a very tedious journey. It was very, very important. Again, I was very ready. I still had the passion to build something. So I said, okay, let me go ahead. The next thing is, I had to go back and gather support. Because Bootstrapping actually had a strong impact on my entire financials. Because whatever money we had earned so far, we actually put everything back into Bootstrapping. Right? That's the passion that we have, right? We believe in something, we really believe in it. We went ahead and putting all the money there, and we realized that we were actually failing. Right? So when we started this company, I had to get the support back to the family that, I'm going to go through a very hard journey once again for a very, very long time. It's very important, in spite of running a few companies, it is very important for me to go back and get the support because, as Naidu said, you're going to have tons and tons of challenges on the business side, which I think as an entrepreneur you can tackle, that's not a problem at all. But when you start seeing challenges coming from your home, you start seeing that your family, your wife, your parents are actually not happy with what you're doing, they're not willing to be a part of the journey, it's something that you cannot handle, right? You cannot let it take a toll on any entrepreneur. So it was very important for me to go back and explain to them that, okay, give me again 3 more years, I'm not going to be part of any company. And again, this was a time when I was getting crazy offers, right? So, from VCs asking me to become the CEO of some well-funded company. And I was actually saying no to all of those things. They're actually paying 80 lakh rupees plus stock options. And I was like, saying no to every all this. And my family and everybody was saying, okay, let me just do one more thing, right? So, and then I'm sure he can always fall back and get a job offer. Right? So, at least the family is actually not in a bad state. It didn't work right. So that's how I could gather the support. I think it's very, very important if you're trying to bootstrap and build your own startup, gather the support from the family, ensure that they're on the side, ensure that they understand the turmoil that you're going to go through because directly they're also going to go through it. Right? So be very, very careful on that aspect. And be very sure, okay, is a business model to bootstrap, right? So are you trying to build a space shuttle with a code, right? Or are you trying to build an enterprise startup the way we are trying to do right now with 50 lakh rupees? So be very clear about what it takes to build a company, what it takes to get it to a stage where you're able to take the product to the market, get some acceptance level, understand the market, create a product market fit, right? And basically have a few paying customers. Do you have enough resources to be able to do that? If you have the resources without raising money, then I think it's a bootstrap startup from your end. Be frugal, right? So wherever possible, don't spend money on offices. Across all the 3 startups, I think except for one, across all the 3 startups, including this one, we haven't paid rent for building the company. Right? So we always found some friend who actually had some free space and latched on and started building our company. They've always been very nice to us, and you'll also find a lot of nice people who will be willing to help you out. Right? So latch on to such opportunities. Don't pay for applications which are not required. We have 30-day free trials for a lot of applications, right? So for example, Browser Stack, we used the application for free by creating different accounts for almost like 90 days. And then now recently we just started paying them because we know we need them for long and we actually value this particular product. So only pay when required. Till then, figure out different ways through which you don't need to pay, be very, very frugal. And again, spend only on the right things where required, right? So one of the right things that you need to spend on is building a great team, right? So interestingly in India, building a team is an interesting challenge. ESOPs is something that nobody cares about because there are very few success stories. It's all this paper for them. Every engineer at a very early level, every engineer actually has their own challenges. The money that they need to supply, take back to their family, the loans that they have to pay. So you need to have enough money to be able to get the right resources from your team, right? And ensure that they're excited about, not about you, excited about the product and the vision that your product is actually having. Because in case, for some reason, you die tomorrow, right? You still want your company to survive, right? So your team should be passionate enough to be building that company even after you're gone. Right? So build a team, build a company of that nature, right, from day one, right? It makes a lot of difference. And then prioritize and maximize, right? So as a startup, as a product, right? So you always want to say, I want to answer every single question that a particular company has in my particular domain. For example, we have customer feedback analytics, right? So there are tons of things that we can do, right? what would we do? If we hire every single like 10 engineers right now and start building the entire full stack of solutions, or would we really prioritize and say, okay, I only have one developer, I'm actually going to start working first feature which is actually going to have the maximum impact on the customer and potentially having a customer to pay me. Right? So figure out. Typically when you are running a bootstrap startup, it comes by nature, right? So because you don't have the option. Right? So be very careful to do that. It will really help you. Realize customer is king, and when customer is on your side, you don't need TCs, you don't need anybody else, right? So customers will understand the value that you have, that you're providing them, and they will start paying you, and you can probably even survive from basic customer revenue. I think we are actually at a stage where we have paying customers by this year, and I think we will be self-sustained based on revenue itself, right? So and thereafter, we will still look at raising money, but we won't be desperate enough. We won't be desperate when we're trying to raise money. I mean, that is something that we want to be very, very keen on. And then remember, cash is emperor. So customer is king, cash is the emperor. You have to ensure that you take care of the cash that you have in your account when you actually have it, so that you do not face situations where you don't have any penny in the account, right? So even this startup, even in the previous startup in Indianox also, there were times when we had even 1 crore plus in cash in our accounts. What we used to do is we used to create an FD for 1 crore long year, right? So we knew that if we break it, there had to be a little bit of process, paperwork, etc. This is a pain, right? So we always used to look at our accounts and say, we don't have any money in our account now, right? We used to look at our current accounts and think, we don't have any money, what do we do now? So we used to be relentless in trying to follow up with our advertisers in getting money from them. Otherwise, we used to look at 1 crore cash in our account and say, I actually have improperly next month. So we were not trying to be okay with that kind of situation. Even today, we actually ensure that we look at cash and we conserve cash as if we do not have any, we don't have any money to do for breakfast tomorrow. That's the craziness which we even do that. But when it comes to a team, we spend enough money. Right? So we always take them out for dinners, we always do all that stuff. But we don't spend money on offices, we don't spend money on crazy stuff like going on tours and stuff like that. Right? So we spend only where it's required. And again, positive cash flow is the most important thing. Try to hit positive cash flow. If you're trying to be a bootstrap startup, try to hit positive cash flow as quickly as possible. It makes a huge difference to your confidence and to the team's confidence, right? And work your way up. So in an enterprise company right now, I still remember I went to Bajaj Allianz 8 months back, right? So much before we actually had a product, right? So he said, there's no way I can probably use you, right? You guys don't have a product, I'm not sure how long you guys will sustain, etc., right? So I met the same gentleman the other day in Bangalore. And I said, hey, Kalyan, looks like you guys have enough customers now. You guys seem to have a very odd product. Why don't you come and do a POC process? Right? So the thing is, you sometimes need to understand the stage of your own company and then keep meeting target customers that you eventually want to reach out to, but also figure out who are the other customers in between who would be ready to use a platform like yours or a product at your stage and are ready to work with you. So work with such companies and work your way up towards the larger deals. Right? It will happen. The thing is, you can't go with the large deal right from day one. So work your way up in the way you build your customer base and your revenues, right? And then be true to yourself. A lot of us, especially in the last 2 years, we've seen we looked at metrics that actually fool us, right? So we think, okay, it's something exciting that for the market, for the media, or for the for the venture capital firms, and we throw numbers just like like that, right? So we tell, oh, you know what, we have 50 crores in GMV, or we have 500 crore something visitors on a daily basis, or 1 million visitors on a daily basis. But what does it mean at the end of the day? Are you able to build a sustainable business? So what are those key metrics that actually are going to make a difference to your startup? So you should be aware of it. So whatever numbers you're going to throw out, garbage that you're going to throw out to others, let them handle the garbage. You please be aware of what you're trying to do and what is going to fit your business. It's very, very key. Especially the last 2 years, I've seen too many founders, running after the wrong metrics. Right? And I think it's totally worth it. Bootstrapping, at least for the first year. And again, nobody wants to be a corporate forever, right? But I think that's a phase of life that you have to go through. It really helps you understand and build this fundamentally strong business. So go through that first initial corporate phase. Don't try to go run around trying to build that initial corporate phase startup. It really, really help you understand your business and build a successful company. Okay. So, thanks.
I can already see a lot of people, browsing. Yeah.
What's your backup plan if
nothing worked.
I told you, right? So I had a job offers. I'm hoping that people still value my experience in building a startup, right? So the fact is, there are enough companies today who value the whole journey of building a startup. Right? So they understand the fact that we're not thinking from a task perspective. We actually are looking at the financial perspective, the customer perspective, the feasibility perspective. So you're a lot more evolved, a lot more rounded by the time you actually, either fail or build a successful startup. So you're valuable. So even today, if somebody comes to me who has actually failed, I think I value him a lot more than somebody who has actually had 10 years of experience in Wipro or GE or Infosys or even economics, right? So being in this phase, having an experience matters a lot. And I think once you've done that, I think you don't really need to bother about, I'm sure I can at least find a programmer job and survive, right? So it is that confidence you've got to have if you really want to build a startup.
So one question. So for the new company, the True Semantic, do you raise money for that one, or?
We haven't raised money, but we have raised loans on a month-on-month basis. So just like Abhay has been doing. So, but we've been always ensuring that, just like I said, we always take pride that across all my startups, we have never delayed our salaries by more than, never delayed our salaries actually. We've always paid on the last day of the month, no matter what the situation was, right? So there was a time when I actually even sold my car, just to ensure that I actually paid, I knew that I was going to get that little money, extra money, the next month. But this month I could not pay. I said, okay, I just sold my car, thanks to Alex. You could send it in 2 days, and then pay the salaries. So, and my team values this entire effort that we've done. The interesting thing is, the team that I currently have with TrueSemantic is the same team that I have been having since India also.
So when you have two companies, do you have a common team, or do you separate the two?
As I said again, Moses Street, the previous company, is almost self-sustaining right now. I mean, as I also just mentioned, the team that I have had from India Rocks till now is all the same team, right? So they are the guys there who can manage in case anything is required in Moses Street. But they're not actively running the company. Generates enough revenue.
In your approach to investor, so they keep asking for the growth. So is it the growth being a B2C firm? So is it the growth that we need to target, or the revenue should start from the day one of in the initial stage? Is the growth matters?
Yeah, we should do B2C. Yeah. I think the investors are equally confused as we are, right? So unfortunately, right? So I think investors are more excited about the space that you're trying to operate in, right? They believe that certain spaces will grow large. They want entrepreneurs to understand the space, who have the willingness to go through the long journey and be there and build something that will grow. So that's the kind of concept they're willing to invest in. And as a bootstrap company, that's not the mindset that you come with, right? You want to start making the revenues from day one. You want to start being sustainable. So I think they are building companies for larger exits. Right? So we're building companies not as a lifestyle, but a little beyond profitable. A company that will also make investors happy with the exit and not a 15x or 20x. So every investor that I've met so far always has a different mindset about what you need to do. Somebody talks about profitability, somebody talks about unit economics, somebody talks about how many years you have. Let's say you can convert them. I still remember there was a time when I met a investor who became a very good friend, right? So this was again during India Rocks time. I said, don't stop your revenue, right? So don't start earning money. Stop all the advertising things that you actually have. So why? We're actually profitable, we're actually doing good. So unfortunately, you're going to be valued based on multiples of the revenue that you're actually earning, not on the potential. Right? So that's one of the strong reasons why Twitter delayed the revenue for a very, very long time. They did not introduce business channels or revenue channels for a very, very long time, even though they had a very large user base and they knew clearly what were the channels. Right? If they had plugged in advertising into Twitter a long time back, they would have started making money. But they were unfortunately going to be valued by multiple of that, not value multiple of the revenue opportunity in the future. So India is again a country where you find all VCs, if you have revenue, let's say, once you actually get 10 lakhs, it's maximum you're going to value for maybe opportunity was it's 5 crores. So be very careful about what kind of model that you are in and take the right metrics. Understand that read all his blogs, all the guys that are sharing on Instagram and Twitter, and then go to what he wants to do.
Thanks a lot, Kalyan.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking pictures. In case you're putting up on your social handles, please remember to tag us at @citrusway and #UpStart HYD. Right. Now time for some myth busting and fact finding about bootstrapping, and I would request Anurag to help us do that.
This is all I'm going to take, I swear to God. Right? I know it's a Saturday in the evening, but just, I don't know if Abhay sir is not there. Anyways, so quick introduction. I run this company called Zifty. We match two individuals who are traveling in the same direction, and one of them happens to be a car owner. So essentially, we facilitate dynamic carpooling, and we are the largest carpooling company for home office home commute in India, right next to BlaBlaCar in terms of numbers. You can get more information about the company over the net. So I think we'll just straight away get down to the main thing. Now it's actually funny that every 6 months or so you get a word which gets popped up with the news, blogs, and the so-called startup ecosystem. The latest I've been hearing is the Cockroach startup. Right? I never really knew this term or what this term meant. And as if an imaginary unicorn with a toothpick on his head, pooping rainbows was not enough, then we have a cockroach sort of this thing. My thing is, today the startup ecosystem has become like a religion, and we have so-called gods which all of us follow without even realizing our true potential, right? And that's what understanding what bootstrapping is. Now, of lately, I've been hearing that bootstrapping is someone who have absolutely no money. In today's world, you cannot do anything without even a single amount of money. I think bootstrap is just a way how you want to actually do things in your company. Had the so-called unicorns have followed the principles of a so-called bootstrap company, we wouldn't have seen that slump. Now, you might have, I'm a first-time entrepreneur. I don't have a background in entrepreneurship, but I do have 7 years of extensive background in financial management. So I know what I'm actually talking about, right? So in fact, I just took the liberty to actually, introduce you to Mr. Cockroach, right? So he's the typical, serial entrepreneur or startup guru or an investor or a rock star or a visionary which you see, these days, and they talk about how you should run your company, how you should build a product and whatnot and stuff like that. So we'll just do everything. I'll just run this session by keeping Mr. Cockroach in mind. So I don't have a personal experience in doing a bootstrap or a lean startup or whatnot. I just simply run my company with the way what looks or feels good to me, right? So I'm just going to talk about that. No, but interestingly, when Vivek actually saw that, hey, if you could share your thoughts about how bootstrapping is the way forward, or what is the cockroach strategy so far. So I was like, I can't really think about anything, but then suddenly it actually clicked. If you look at the characteristics of the cockroach, right, then you can actually relate a lot to a startup founder or someone who's working in a startup. It's not just that the founders or the CEOs or the senior level of a company or a startup should be working like that or should have those thought processes. I think the initial 20 members or 25 members of the team should be working like that. Now I actually took the liberty of noting down what are the characteristics of a cockroach, right? So not all of them are pests. There are approximately 40,000 kind of cockroaches on our planet, and only 30 of them are considered to be pests. Majority of them are still considered, I don't know what they are considered, but they are not considered as pests, right? They will eat just about anything. Now, this is not something, this is funny, but just try to correlate, just try to remember these points and we'll correlate in our discussion further. They can survive without food for a long period of time, right? And they can live without their head for a good amount of time. They can be conditioned, as in you can train them as and when it required. So whatever, that's the reason why they survived the nuclear blast, or they survived so much. The dinosaurs couldn't survive, but the cockroach survived, right? And they are fast. Now, if you think about it, the right way of building a company, how is it? You should change based on the type. If you have less money, reduce the cost. If a cockroach can survive without food for a long day, we just need to intake some liquid. I'm not asking you to go on a diet, but what I'm just trying to tell you here is, so there are ways we can be realistic about how to run things. Now I've observed few of the people just walking off, from the discussion or just talking between themselves while the other persons were actually sharing their journey. I think it's very unfortunate that if you cannot survive 2 hours of an event, you cannot run a company. It's as simple as it, right? Because as a founder or to run a company, you need to have a lot of patience, and you have to sometimes you will be put into situations which are extremely uncomfortable, which are extremely challenging. But then that's the key. If you look at all the people or the posters who were there, Dhirubhai Ambani, Jack Ma, Steve Jobs, nobody had like Pushtani Jaida or ancestral property to actually start with. Now, bootstrapping is extremely simple, and I think over the period of time, every one of us has complicated things just the way we have been complicating everything else. So, bootstrapping is extremely simple. It's not that you don't need money. Definitely, you need money. Even nobody will give you a domain name if you don't pay them. Nobody will be give you any services or anything. Even you won't get a office space or a desk to actually work out if you don't pay them. There is no free office space available in India, right? Bootstrapping is extremely simple. It's building something with a very limited set of resources what you have. And the key to that is being very realistic while you are doing that, right? So even if you have, I will not name the company, but a very close friend of mine, so he was into the hotel aggregation business, and they raised a huge amount of round from a very big investor. The whole point is we look at the larger number or the total amount of funding they receive, but we don't know that those money comes into multiple tranches. So it's always like if you have raised $50 million, it will come in probably 10 tranches or say 20 tranches. It depends upon the investor, and they have certain milestones that if you achieve this, then we'll release the next 20% of the payment and stuff like that. But here's the thing, once you have like $50 million or $30 million, you end up hiring like crazy. You'll have all the so-called perks, the things which make a startup cool. When we raised our round, that time T-Hub just launched, and that time T-Hub was the most talked about thing in the whole of the country as such, because it was supported by government and so many well-known people came. But we were in a fix to actually look at where should we go and take our office space. Now, the same amount of size would have costed us here 60,000, but we are still paying 20,000 in the same old building where we are still there, right? Does it mean that if I have money, I should go and spend it on something which is not going to give me any sort of a return on investment? Why should I pay 40,000 or 30,000 extra just for a set of nice-looking chairs and tables? I just need a chair and a table and a computer and a good internet line to actually work. So bootstrapping is the way of life. Like someone says that I'm an atheist or I'm a very religious person. I'm someone who believes in Scientology. Right? So bootstrapping is just a way of life, or way of driving things or doing things with being extremely realistic of what you have. To be very frank, there's free lunches and so-called team outings or free weekend doesn't make any sense to me. With my folks, I have a couple of my team members standing here. You can actually ask them. They will always say that even if there is a funding news, we don't go for team lunches. It's an external fund. It's not that we have earned that money, so we cannot celebrate. It's a liability which is coming on top of it. So you are not correct when you are celebrating a liability which is coming onto your head. So I think as a startup founder, we should be extremely realistic and on the ground of what is happening and what is there with us, right? Now, if you look at, many questions I've been, hearing that many people are asking that, how did you build your MVP, or how did you start about, or we had questions about marketing and everything. I think if you look at, the way any product is built, or let's just say, how you cook your meal, right? You always first see, घर में क्या बचा है. It's not that, when we had a joint family, or, like majority of us are, staying away from our parents. We don't have our moms to actually take care of the kitchen or something, right? So we first look at things, or whatever stuff we have left in our house. Then we'll think what we can build out of it, or what is that we want to eat, right? So it's similar to that. I will actually look at, what are things do I have left? So I have this, I always talk about MVL, which is required, or a very important number to actually think about, yourself, to ask about yourself, what is your minimum viable life, right? How much do you want to spend on your food? How much do you want to spend on your travel? How much do you want to spend on your, random stuff, other stuff. So I think the decision to actually start a startup, it doesn't matter if it is, unicorn or a bootstrap or lean startup. Everything is just simple terminologies. I never actually, paid any attention to theoretical this thing. That's the reason. If you see my 10, 12 or BTech numbers, it's total, utter, it has no correlation to what I'm doing right now. But, having realized that, I just need, say, 1,500 rupees to take care of my food expenses. I mean, you get very nice idli to have in breakfast. It's, you can have it. It's the way of life which I took to actually, go ahead for the next 6 months or so. So I realized that what is my MBL value? Do I have that much amount with me left or not? Because my friend, it never happens, at least not in India, ever it has happened, or it will never happen that you don't have, or you have just an idea and you get funded. That's not going to happen. None of us are building Magic Leap, or none of us are building Hyperloop here in India, right? So you have to be very diligent. You have to make these decisions based on the certain numbers. So always think about what is the minimum which you would require, because this is a very bad notion in our ecosystem where everybody expects the founder to actually work without money, right? I understand it's a it's a way of showing that you are attached to the company or you are committed to the company. But hey, everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs a place to stay. Everybody needs a dress to actually wear, right? So you need to have that number very clear in my mind. Then you have to build your MVP. Now, when I was building Ziffy, the first thought was that our MVP should be a mobile application or a responsive website or something which is built on, phone gap or a cross-platform and everything. So randomly, after quitting my job at Wells Fargo, I was just speaking to my dad, and my dad happens to be a 30-year-old, 30 years experienced traditional businessman. So he talked about MVP, and I was extremely impressed that my dad, who doesn't know how to operate WhatsApp, is talking about an MVP. Now, this is a very basic concept. What is the minimum viable product? Now, in our case, the minimum viable product was my car. So I did not have to invest any amount, any single money to actually make a mobile application. I simply took my car, stopped near auto rickshaw stands, or I was very frequently caught hold by the traffic police guys at my home Navadip or Cybertas Junction. Because what I used to do was I used to ask random strangers with ID cards. You can very well see if TCS or Infosys or whatever is written, and you used to ask them, are you going to Gachibowli? I can drop you. So that's how I started actually acquiring my customers. So we ran Ziffy for almost 8 to 9 months without any application, without any product, or without any web services or API and stuff like that. Still, we made almost 61,000 in terms of revenues. Because I was doing the same thing for 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening, and the distance was close to 10 kilometers. If you see from Madhapur police station to Wave Rock, that's where 90% of the traffic comes. So the whole point is, your MVP should be matched with what the problem is you are actually trying to solve. You don't need a mobile application for anything and everything. Trust me on this. You just have to think about the problem. What steps do you have to take to actually solve those problems, and then build technology to automate that steps. Right? Because, and then yes, the third most important for us was to get first 10 paying customers. I was charging my customers 10 rupees, 15 rupees. Because that's what a share auto will charge. Right? So my proposition was, for the same cost, you don't have to hang your bum outside half. You can still get a AC ride in my car, which is a very nice car, but pay the same amount. That was my USP, and people were coming. So we started to talk to them. We started to understand the pain point which they used to actually take while traveling and that's how we got our first 10 paying customers. So even the first customer which I had was a paying customer. So this was extremely clear in my mind. I don't have money. I need to get money from outside, right? I cannot spend money in mobile development application or stuff like that. My car is there. Let me go and ask. So this is how we actually scaled initially, and after 7 months or 8 months of talking to these sort of people, then we realized that okay, fine, we definitely need certain things in place to actually take it further. And then subsequently, we also asked those 10 people to actually get 10 for us. So I said that if you get 10 of your friends to me, I will give you say 100 rupees Flipkart vouchers. Everybody loves vouchers. Right? That's the reason why coupon sites are still performing well, and that's the reason majority of the e-commerce companies are performing well. Right? We all love discounts. We all bargain for each and everything. So that was very simple. So without an application, without a mobile application or as nothing, absolutely nothing. Right? We ran the company for almost 9 months. So why I was able to actually do that is I actually followed these few steps, and subsequently later I learned that this is what people tell you that this is what lean startup means or bootstrapping means and stuff like that. I have no idea what lean startup means. I know that it has to do with some blocks and everything. Because that's not how you run your business. If you don't have money in your account, that stupid sheet of page will not help anything. You have to be realistic. You have to change your way of work, or you have to change your life, or you have to retreat based on this, the moment or the circumstance which you have at time, right? So these were the few things which I did, and I also expect anybody else to actually do if they really want to make or build something out of it. Startup is just a phase where you start up. After that, you have to. I had incidentally I met someone over a cup of coffee today in the evening, and I don't know if they are still there. No. So they were supposed to actually attend this session. So they said that majority of the speakers who come, they talk bullshit. I agree. Right? Because we have to be diplomatic up to a certain extent, right? So anyways, I will come back to the point later. So what I followed over the last 2 years of existence, I picked my co-founder very wisely. So there was someone who also asked me that how did you find your co-founder? Now I did not go to events and tell them, hey, I'm looking for a co-founder, I'm looking for a co-founder. See, when you want someone to actually come and build something, you need someone who actually believes in the vision you have. So you have to sell your product. Your co-founder is going to be your first customer. Remember that. Your co-founder is going to be your first customer. If you are not able to sell your vision or your product to your co-founder, it becomes extremely difficult to sell to them. If I ask that, hey guys, can everybody give 10 rupees to me? Will you give? How many of you will you give me 10 rupees? Let's be very frank. Raise hands. Just raise hands. Be very frank with yourself.
I'll give you 10, but not 1,000.
Just 10. Not even 1,000, 10. Fine. 1, 2, 3. Roughly 10. How many of us are here? At least 20. See how difficult it is. Right? So you need to sell your product or your vision first to your co-founder. And I think for few folks, it was their luck that they found someone within their network. For few folks, it's just that there are two individuals who met and suddenly they share the same vision. Because then it's never like a one man's job. Being a startup is a very lonely thing. You cannot. Your employees expect you to be always enthusiastic and lead you from the front. But when you are down, when you are bogged down, whom do you go and share your trouble with? You cannot go and share that, hey, you know what, I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that in front of your employees. Because you need to look strong in front of them, right? So you need a shoulder to actually cry on. So think about your co-founder as your wife or as your girlfriend or anybody else, right? Pick them extremely wisely. So just whenever you are looking for a co-founder, just don't talk about that you are looking for a co-founder. You just tell them that, this is what I'm trying to do. We have done this. This is what I am planning to do for the next 6 months, right? And I need some support. If the other guy is convinced with your vision or with your product, he will automatically say, hey, you know what, I'm also also planning to actually do something. I like this space. I can be of any help. So this is how you actually pick up when you're a co-founder. Have a revenue model that works. This is like, you want to write a story, but you don't know what ABCD means. There were a couple of folks, I keep getting few business plans every now and then, and there are simply, we are not looking to revenues is something very orthodox. We are just looking at expanding and capture 10% of the world's population. So, these words like bootstrapping, unicorn, these are words which are something like, what is that term? There is a friend of mine who uses that they are orgasmic terms for the VCs of the startup gurus. They are unrealistic words. The realistic word is the revenue model, right? So have it, every model, every business which you have to do, it has to be think from a point that, okay, fine, I am trying to solve this problem. Is someone going to pay money for that problem or not? As simple as it. If yes, then you have a revenue model. So try to replicate that. Just do it for 10 people, then those 10 people will tell to another 10 people. And that's how you grow initially. But yes, after a certain amount of time, everybody needs funds. Abhay sir, he's my idol because he's more realistic. What he spoke about, that's the harsh reality. With majority of us, that's the reason you see 90% or 99% failure rate is there in the startup ecosystem. Because only 1% are really doing the job. Others are just bahti ganga mein haath dhone wale. That what this company got funded, okay, we'll fund you. This company got funded, okay, we'll fund you. That's how it works. Because even a VC, he's also an entrepreneur. It is not his money. They raise money from external sources, saying that in 5 years we will give you this much return. So even they are an entrepreneur and they are trying to make money. Right? So they are not someone whom, it's not a VC passing, but it's just a realistic way of actually looking at things. Everybody talked about being thrifty, cut expenses and what, I still, I'm a founder who doesn't know how to operate a Mac. And if you go to a Bangalore, people look down upon you if you're a founder and if you're not using a Mac. I don't know why that is happening, right? So, if you have to get, as a founder, I just need a PowerPoint or I just need an Excel sheet and I just need probably a Skype or even just Google, right? Many of us, the first moment we have to go for Google Apps and use Zoho. Zoho is free for 25-member team. Things there are free stuff which are available. You don't need to follow what others are following to actually do. Accounting and everything, you don't need much of an accounting books or everything. Simply, none of us are accountants, right? So why do we have to invest in an accounting book, QuickBooks, Intuit and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, at the end of the year, you'll hire a CEO who will have Tally. Right? So why to waste even your 2,000 rupees in that, right? Learn, do not outsource. I keep on hearing that I need money to build a product, I need money to build a product. Nobody will give you money to build something. Right? When you go to a restaurant, you'll not say that, hey, you know what, take this 500 rupees, go buy chicken, go buy rice, then prepare biryani and get it to me. Right? It's not going to happen. So, try to learn, and you have various mediums to actually learn and understand how things are done. With me, even though I was a technology specialist as well, so I was into the financial domain, but I knew nothing about HTML5, PHP, blah, blah, blah. What I knew that you can buy templates for $5, right? Change it. It's simple, you have to change the context and everything, and your site is live. I did not needed a front-end developer or anything. Everything is there on YouTube. There is Khan Academy, there is Udemy, there are so many things to actually learn. The moment you stop learning, I think that's where you will definitely fail, and you'll start looking at investors or VCs rather than looking at customers. In fact, my first funding came because the person who funded me, he took a car with me. This happened. The second person also, when we raised our angel, we were the first company in this domain to actually raise an angel. Now you have, like every Tom, Dick and Harry wants to do car. That's a different story. But concentrate on your business, concentrate on delivering the product. I think the VCs will find you. The money will automatically find you, right? But still, when the money comes, be diligent of how you are spending. Be realistic of where you are spending. I think if you have flexible timings, like if the office starts at 9, you can expect your employees to come at 9:30 or 10. not 1:30 or 2. That is not flexible. That is irrational timing, right? And then you have free lunches. So till 3 p.m. there is absolutely no work, right? And then 5:30, 6 p.m. they go out for parties. Where is the work? Think about every rupee that you spend. Don't micromanage it, right? That has to be, there has to be some level or a thin line drawn between when you are doing a micromanagement and stuff like that. And definitely be judicious. I'll again not take the name of the company, but they invested a huge amount, almost 20 crores to get 50 lakh app downloads. After 3 days, their app retention was 15 lakhs. And after 7 days, their app retention was 5 lakhs. And as of today, their active user base is less than 1 lakh. And this is a highly funded company. Right? So you have to be extremely sure of where do you want to see. There is a reason why you don't see Reliance or Tata and stuff like that spend extra heavily on digital marketing or ad campaigns, right? And they are the businesses who are actually generating shitload of money. We can learn from them, right? Just the way we can learn from these guys. I think these guys are all realistic businessmen. Like they consider their company as a company, not as a startup, right? And okay, you might, the last point, don't take no for an answer, think it from this perspective. So, someone talked about, accepting, being, receptive to rejections. Like, rejections are good, they will help you that why you got rejected and stuff like that. But, someone says that this is not possible or the market is not ready or stuff like that. I don't think so that person is capable enough to actually understand your business model if you have gone through it thoroughly. See, the thing which I follow is very simple. If a plane can fly and a ship can sail, I cannot swim. Anything is possible in the world, right? The technology, and today the technology is so advanced, and it is extremely simple to get your hands on those things. Anything and everything is possible. Just have that notion, and don't just think about I don't have money. That is never the problem. The problem is you don't have a solution or you don't have a plan of action. Right? We always, as startup founders, majority of the time, we instead of building the solution of the problem, we start building with business plan and financial model and stuff like that. And then what we do is we limit ourselves within the boundary of that business plan. Because then you don't know the reality outside. You think that everybody, this person got funded, that person, I will also get funded. Right? It doesn't happen that way. So, couple of things, the reason why there is a myth, there are two myths which, and I don't know if there are, how majority of the people will take it, but the truth is this: exponential growth is absolutely bullshit. No company has an exponential growth. Okay, the GMV stuff and everything, I know I am nobody to actually talk about it, but I think it's common sense, right? It's purely common sense. The amount of money which is coming in and the amount of money which is going out, if they do not match, then you don't have a business. 90% of the investment firms, they do a business because they want to make money by selling their shares to the next fool. Right? And this is how the world works. Right? How many times have you seen a deal which has done as a pure cash deal? It's always equity plus undisclosed. In very rare cases, the deal size or the exit size or the amount is disclosed. How many of you know that the pre-series 8 term was invented in India? Because the bridge between angel round and series A is so high that one of the speakers mentioned that our expectation was we were matching ourselves from the US market. Right? Everybody wants to raise millions of dollars. Everybody wants to raise few $1,000. And everybody wants to do it. So what they did? We have raised our pre-series. We are yet to go for series. Right? So these are all stuff which you make yourself to project yourself at a startup guru or a visionary or a serial entrepreneur and stuff like that. The reality hits you after 2 years or 3 years. I can argue this. There is no startup ecosystem in India. Absolutely no. If you think that there is a startup ecosystem, absolutely no. There is no startup ecosystem in India. Everything is a business here. Everything is a business. Everybody wants to make money. Nobody is giving anything for free. So don't have that question that there is a so-called startup ecosystem in India and there will be people to actually help you. Sorry. Nobody will do it. Right? You have to fight it out for yourself. You have to fight it. Now, even after this, if you come and talk to me, hey, I need this help, I need this, I said, boss, mere ko chhod do, mere ko mera company saman. Because I don't have the time to actually help you because there is no such ecosystem that is going to help me if I fail. If I don't have money, not the government will say, don't worry, you can file for bankruptcy and stuff like that and nobody will catch hold of your neck. Here, that's that. Right? Be realistic as much as possible. Right? The ecosystem, as we speak, are nothing but a bunch of entities which are interconnected like a net. Now, if you just do something like, so how does a fish swim? You see sharks, they never get caught in the nets. You always see those small fishes who always get caught in the net because they follow this first fish which is going up. Right? And that's how you get stuck in that net. And you think that there is an ecosystem, you will get funding if you attend, it doesn't happen. Do what you have to do for your business. If your business requires you to spend your time with your customer, go and talk to your customer. There are thousands and thousands of people standing outside. I mean, initially we spoke to almost like 40 investors and everybody said no. Then we realized none of their investors used to drive their own cars. How will they understand the pain point of someone who's driving a Sandro, who's driving a Desire, or who's driving a Honda City? Majority of them drive a BMW. Nobody gives a shit about what is the diesel cost or the petrol cost, right? So you have to be realistic about what you are doing, and I think that is what is known as bootstrapping. Bootstrapping does not mean that you just sit at a CCD or a Starbucks and simply code, and someone says, what is your progress? Sir, we have grown from 10 users to 11 users. Why so slow? No, we are bootstrapped. So that is not good, that is stupid. Get 1,000 rupees, convert those 1,000 rupees into 1,100 rupees, convert those 1,100 rupees into 1,500 rupees. I think that is what is known as bootstrap. Right? After a certain amount of time, no matter what, you will need a funding. And trust me, if you think that I have a core notion that I'm always a bootstrap company, there's no harm in seeking external funds. But when you get external funds, please, for God's sake, still behave like a bootstrap company till the time you are not operationally positive. Right? I think that's being truthful not just to yourself but to your employees or to your investors and everybody. Because your investors, majority of our investors in the so-called Indian startup ecosystem are as good as us. Right? Because they have also started from the same colleges, we have also started from the same colleges. They have not formed any company, they have funded companies. Right? So all of us are on the same page. It's just that how you perceive things makes or breaks the deal. See, at the end of the day, I don't have a personal grudge against anybody. Don't personally take me wrong. I'm just a guy who's very much realistic about. I take inspirations, or I listen to the things which are happening in and around me rather than which are happening somewhere in Silicon Valley or Dublin or stuff like that, or Mashable or TechCrunch and your story and stuff like that. I actually look at things, what is happening in and around me. Can I control this? That's more than enough for me, right? Because at the end of the day, it's as simple as which shoe fits you, right? But there's also a hidden this thing. Which shoe is right for which occasion? If you wear a chappal and go to an interview, you'll be shown the door, right? But if you go to meet your friends and you are in your best attire, like proper suited up, kya hai re, suit pant kya hai, you have to make that conscious decision. Don't follow what others are doing, right? Being realistic, being truthful, being diligent, I think that's all what bootstrapping is. There is no so-called rules and regulations and facts and myths. The whole concept is a myth. The way you execute it, that's the fact. Thank you.
Any questions?
I will choose everyone that. Yeah.
How did you choose your co-founder? And what are the qualities that you are?
See, so the way I make these started was I told him that this is the product which I'm building, this is my idea, this is the progress which I've done. Like I've got a responsive website just to send out the message. I've been meeting hundreds and hundreds of people on a daily basis. My plan is to actually build a minimum viable product in the next 6 months, and I'm looking for some help. Do you know who can actually do this thing? Because I think this is such a big market that if we are able to achieve 200,000 users, we can get this much revenue. Snap. He said, I'm okay to help you. And he was already working in a very big firm, so he was heading the mobile development team at one of the major travel companies here in India. So after his office, he used to come and work with us till 2, 3 a.m. So he was working 2 jobs at the same time for 6 months. We did not pay him anything. He just was there for the idea. And after 6 months, he quit his job and came back. So I did not, to be very frank, I never went out to find my co-founder or my VC or anything. I just focus on, first I have to do my work. If my work is there, if I'm able to solve that problem for 10 people, I think these 10 people will talk about it. And actually, that's how I met my co-founder as well as this guy. See, there is no secret sauce of how you will meet your co-founder. Unless and until there is, a Shadi.com sort of this thing. There were few companies which came that, that would help you find a co-founder. So the first thing that they discuss is, okay, तेरा percentage कितना, मेरा percentage कितना.
So if they discuss that,
I think, बोले भाई, I am not looking for a co-founder. As simple as it. Now, my guys, just ask them if they want to pay. One of the person who was actually handling the iOS application development in that company is, he left, he had an option to actually join one of our competitors at a salary which was like, but he took 70% cut and joined us because he himself is, convinced about the idea. Right? So for every individual task we have 5 individual verticals or areas where we have to focus, and thankfully I'm lucky enough that I have 5 very strong people who are handling those things. It will just simply happen if you just concentrate on your work. Someday or later, I don't have an exact way of how you will find it, but like Abhay said, there is something. See, life is a cycle. It's like a pendulum. कुछ करोगे तो कुछ ना कुछ होएगा यार. If you're just sitting idle, who knows, the other guy is like, कुछ कर नहीं रहा है. I want to become co-founder, तो कुछ कर नहीं रहा.
How do you manage your competition?
Do you think I can manage the competition?
This curious.
No, I think, see, this is a very common question for us when a VC is also out there. How do you differentiate yourself from your competition? So I think what we do is, you have to understand the space for that. See, taxi is a different market altogether. Private cars is a different market altogether. If, as quoted by Olas and Ubers, that private vehicle ownership will go off, I think Mr. Mahindra or Mr. Tata would have been crying in their homes, right? Which is not going to happen. Culturally, we are known, our status in the society is known by the brand of the car or the length of the car which we own, right? So it's a human problem or it's a behavioral problem, and I think we are not that. See, a dog is much more flexible and fast than an elephant. They are an elephant. They have bigger problems to actually solve. So I think that's the reason Ola shut down the cafe and delivery and everything. It's always, if you look at Facebook, it does one thing the best. Google, one thing the best. Uber, one thing the best. Right? BlaBlaCar, one thing the best. And I think that's and to be very frank, I think if you are expecting that they will really worry about you is kind of a long shot. I think for them you are a nobody. In fact, I am a nobody. There was the time I actually make a significant impact. And by the time we can make a significant impact, I think we all will be in a position where we can actually, that time I can answer how we are handling the competition. I think we are just being lucky at this point. The whole point is we understand people better than, so Ziffy, I don't call Ziffy as a carpooling company, I call Ziffy as an offline social network. Because we are trying to match 2 individuals together. That's our motto. Uber's motto is your personal driver. Nobody is a driver in Ziffy. You cannot book on Ziffy. You can only request. So these are long-term things. I know It doesn't sound good to a VC, but that's the reality.
Right, so that's a very brilliant conclusion to this entire topic of cockroach strategy and bootstrapping to success and to survival. Right. I would thank each one of you for being part of this first session. We plan to do this every month going forward, and I would love to hear some feedback from everyone. Interact with you, learn from you, what topics interest you, what kind of speakers you would want to see coming and speaking to you. We've been doing this for the past 3 months in Bangalore. We've now stepped into Hyderabad, we're taking this to Chennai, to Mumbai, and then to the Tier 2 cities, Indore, Bhopal, Bhubaneswar. It's all going to come through the course of this year. And it will be a great learning experience for me to know what interests the startup ecosystem, even though Anurag just said it doesn't exist, but all of you for me are the startup ecosystem. And I would love to hear your feedback. Just one. Yes, I'm just coming to that. We have just shared the brochures that you would be taking away. If you feel that it solves some of your problems for payments, please feel free to write to us. There's an email ID mentioned on that. You can interact with us on the ones who are wearing black citrus t-shirts this evening. Take our cards. On Monday or Tuesday, you should get emailers with some kind of promo because you guys have taken this pain to come and meet us here. We would like to go ahead and waive off the first 1 year AMC, which is I mean, we are anyway zero setup fee kind of thing. So the first year AMC gets waived off for any one of you who would like to use Citrus services. So the promo codes for that will be there in your inbox between Monday and Tuesday. Thanks a lot. We have some snacks and some beverages in the cafeteria. Please join us there for the networking session. Thank you.